Login accepted.
In? Cool. All right. So we'll start with some announcements. Do I have my yeah, so we're here. Web trackers. For Friday, we'll be doing a little lab with the SOC as well. And yeah, next on the 22nd, it's PvP. Sorry, apologies, we had to push it. Had some actual technical difficulties, but it's okay. This Saturday, PvP, be there, be squared. Yeah, so this is PvP. We have our director of comms over there, co-director. But it's an adversary versus adversary, so you're playing both red team and blue team. It's going to be high stress, a lot of stuff to do, so make sure to prioritize what you want to do. And signups are open until tomorrow. Is that correct?
Currently.
They're open until tomorrow, or let us know if you're still interested. But yeah, that's the QR code, so just scan it. And yeah, we're excited to see you there on Saturday. Okay, Clemens, this is you. So go ahead.
We're not talking about it much. Yeah. We're not talking about it much yet.
All right, cool picture. Is it AI generated? I don't know. You tell me.
Ali is going to be furious. Ali's gonna.
What you gonna do?
He's gonna come up to probably like punch you.
All right. Well, then we'll be able to see her. Yeah. So this is just RVB. It's gonna be later in the year. We're gonna be collabing with ISACA. ISACA is like that huge organization. Yeah, you've heard of them. But yeah, that's the sign up QR code, and it's on March 22nd. Got some. No. Okay, cool. Another event. Wow, this semester is jam-packed. Can you hear me now? All right, so you can hear me now. Another event, lots of fun. Just a datathon, so not just a datathon. But yeah, if you want more experience competition-wise, then yeah, it's a $10 per person to join. And yeah, I don't know too much about this, but you can scan that QR code to learn more on March 7th. Oh yeah, $10 a person, but Sydney over there on Discord saved me too. If you want to sign up, then I'll try to get a discount for you. And Mrs. ITC on April 26th. Wow, I wonder what special day that is. Anyway, it's the IT competition. It's an all-day thing. We work really closely to MISA. They're also a really great club. And yeah, it's kind of just more of a professional setting where you do your competition and you have to present it to a panel of judges and they grill you. So really good real-world experience, by the way. There are different categories that you can go to: IT strategy, security, data analytics, digital forensics, and web apps. More QR codes for you to scan. I guess that's just how we get things done. But yeah, still have some time to sign up and get a team. Yeah, highly encourage this one as well. And that's it for our announcements. So now we're going to switch over to the SOC presentation, where you'll be hearing from me a little more later on. Sure. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Good.
Good, how about you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's my last semester, so we'll figure things out. We'll find a way, right? Life finds a way. What? Do I not have any dinosaur fans out here? Jurassic Park? Yeah? Yeah. All right, what's your favorite dinosaur then? Here. Good catch.
This one. I have a favorite dinosaur.
On screen. On screen. On screen. Stegosaurus, let's go! We like those Thagomisers, right?
My favorite dinosaur is Spinosaurus egyptiacus.
Egypticus.
Whatever he said.
Yeah, Spinosaurus egypticus. It was a Cretaceous dinosaur that lives in modern day Egypt around the Nile River. And so, and so it was defined by this huge spine on the back, right? So that's why we call it the spine lizard. Saurus in like Greek or like Latin is like lizard. So Spinosaurus would be spine lizard. And the species name Egypticus is just where it's found in Egypt. So the spine lizard of Egypt. It was a lot of the notes and fossils were found by Ernst Stromer, which was a German paleontologist during World War II. So a lot of his notes and almost complete skeleton was found at the Munich History of Natural Museum. The Museum of Natural History. Sorry, you're good. And yeah, I can talk about dinosaurs later. If you want to know more, just contact me, Spino, SB1N0 dot. And yeah, now we're gonna talk about the SOC.
That's actually insane.
Hello, everyone. We are the representatives from the Security Operations Center on campus. So we'll go to the introductions. My name is Strick Huffman. I'm a CIS student here. And yeah.
I'm Kenneth, you heard me talking. Yeah, I have Security Plus. I'm the co-director of the SOC and I'm a CIS major.
Good afternoon, Neil. My name's Eric. I'm also part of the SOC and also have a Sec Plus.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to kind of dive into our mission and goal at the SOC. So our primary mission at the SOC, and it's again the student SOC, is to monitor the student data center and improve its security posture through things like auditing, monitoring using SIEM systems. And our primary goal is to provide a learning experience for students. Again, that's kind of why we're here. We'd like to share the skills and knowledge that we've gained while working on our infrastructure. So here's kind of a rough diagram of the SDC infrastructure. This will just help for later explanations. So if you look on the left, we do have our Splunk infrastructure there, which is comprised of various servers. That is all fed through an HP switch, which leads to a network attached storage, which is also connected to the ESXi clusters where we host all of our virtualization like ELSA, the VMs that we use for the workshops. And so again, our job is to monitor primarily the ESXi cluster, but really it's everything involved pretty much behind that campus router, or sorry, behind the pfSense router is our responsibility to monitor. And so I guess the question is, how do we monitor that? And we use that through a security solution called a SIEM, I don't know. But it stands for Security Information and Event Management. And I like to add solution because it seems unfinished. But yeah, so we use SIMs. And what those are, they are kind of like, I would call them like aggregators. And so the idea is we have a bunch of separated log sources that are spread out amongst multiple computers, and we need those all in one place. And so what a SIM does is generally the architecture looks like you install a forwarder or some kind of agent on the hosts that you want to monitor, and then those agents will forward the important logs that you want to a centralized location where you can perform queries. So think it's very similar to SQL, SQL style queries on the data. What they can do, they can actually do a variety of things depending on the solution provider you're using. So at the student SOC, we use Splunk, and Splunk is, I believe now, a Cisco company. Splunk is very broad. It can perform a lot of detections on itself, as well as general SIEM functions. So kind of diving into the specifics of how Splunk works just a little bit, because this will be related to our lab that we're going to be hosting, or the workshop we're going to be doing on Friday. So this is kind of an overview of a single server deployment. And so at the top tier, you have the server tier, and so that contains the deployment server and the search head. The search head is kind of like the search engine that you use to query the data. You can think about it like a database management system. At the second tier, we have our ingesters. And so those are our universal forwarders, heavy forwarders, and they are the vehicle in which logs are sent to our, excuse me, our searching and indexing tier, or at the top. And then we kind of have the management and utility tier. So these are things that we can use to configure the environment as a whole. So SOAR, it's not a concept unique to Splunk. I'm sure we all heard of SOAR before. It stands for Security, Orchestration, and Automated Response. And it essentially allows us to kind of automate away a lot of the grunt work that we would normally do. One of the examples that we do is we have IP addresses automatically ran through VirusTotal, and we kind of have that spat out as a report. And again, this is something that a security analyst would do, but it's something that's a little time consuming. Okay, so moving forward, we mentioned that SIEMs ingest logs, but that kind of begs the question, right? What log sources? So that brings us to Eric, who's going to elaborate on that.
Hello, guys. So log sources can come from many different places, like on your machine or across your network or through your application. So things like Sysmon will give you a log on what your machine is doing. And things like, so you'll also have many different sources. And you'll have EDRs, IDSs, IPSs, and system logs. EDR stands for endpoint detection and response, and that's installed on the endpoints that monitors them for suspicious activity and indicators of compromise. They are host-based, so you'll also need help to sense traffic. That help comes from IDSs and IPSs. Intrusion detection and prevention systems. They go hand in hand with EDRs. And the difference is that the IDS just alerts you, tells you what's going on, but the IPS can take action to prevent bad things from happening. And system logs are essential for gathering your info on those sources, those hosts, containing information like user login attempts, authentication. So this is an example of an EDR. It's kind of a lot to look at. But this is a robust free EDR solution, very similar to Splunk. And it is ingesting logs, giving us information like telling us where it's from, the components, the scores, alert names, time, date, stuff, information. And OpenEDR primarily has alerts, SIEMs will have other things unrelated to security. Here is a screenshot of a Suricata detection. Very, very detailed, as you can see, containing things like source IP, destination, port, protocol. And they are implemented using rule sets, but you can also create a custom rule sets, like we have done in SOC.
All right. That was a lot of information, right? Lots of acronyms, lots of definitions. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna you right there. What's the SIEM? What does the SIEM stand for? I'm looking right at you. Here, I'll throw you the key. I forgot his name.
Well, let's hear our answer.
Oh, sorry.
I
Okay.
got a very slow laptop.
Anyone can answer. Here, I have another question. Don't worry, I have enough for both of you. What does SIEM stand for? Yeah, good, exactly. Yeah, you good.
Hey.
It's okay.
Hey, we're good.
You heard it drag on the phone. So yeah, that's the theme. What about IDS? Anyone want to volunteer before I throw Cuba in? Yeah. Yeah, or like system, whatever, yeah. Nice arc. Yeah, so we have a lot of definitions, we have a lot of acronyms, but what about real world tools, real world situations? So here we have Sysmon or System Monitor. It's a Windows tool that you can install, so it's not inherently on your Windows device when you buy it right off the store. Yeah, it's essentially Microsoft's theme, like in-house theme that you can install and have for yourself. And it's takes a little bit to get there, but you go into Windows Event Viewer. That's where where you can view all the events. Then you go into applications and services, then logs, then Microsoft, then Windows, and then you get to Sysmon. But has a lot of information, so it can be overwhelming at first. But there's many things you can do. There's a lot of information, like I said, about 30 different event IDs. So different things happening. It needs to be organized for you to filter. You can filter through to different logs, depending on what you need. And it's an important tool for dealing with logs, data analytics, threat hunting, and instant response. So as we can see here, it's a lot of this. These are screenshots from the SOC. I went into Event Viewer and into Sysmon. And as we can see here, it's a lot of information, right? So if there's no attacks, no attacks on the system, there's just not going to be a lot of really flashing lights. Hey, look at this, right? It's going to be a lot of information. Then we have our day and time. You know, if you know that an attack happened during a certain time, then you can look for that day, see what happened, how they got in, and where they went. Sources, of course, is going to be Sysmon and event ID here 1, which means a process has been created. But sometimes that can mean something, sometimes doesn't. It all depends on the context and the investigation that you're doing. Here, I clicked into one specific log and went into a friendly view so you guys can see. But yeah, it's just more readable, and you can see that Regmon was executed. And so Regmon is just registry monitor. Basically, it just takes Splunk is taking logs of the registry on the Windows device on the universal forwarder, and just seeing if anything has changed, if there's anything that the analyst should take a look at. But yeah, it just does that every so often on routine. And so in this case, nothing really wrong. So it's just an example. And I mentioned before that SOC analysts have to use a lot of tools for investigations. That's instant response. And from my previous internships, I learned that IR analysts have to be diligent. They have to gather and record their evidence, investigate further if needed, and close an investigation in a timely manner. You have to do your due diligence. You are a part of the security team, and you have to make sure that if there is an attack, that you identify it and you mitigate it as soon as possible. And then you're going to need to gather and record evidence, because when you have to report to your higher ups, they're going to want to be sure that you have done everything you need to do. And your evidence is how you protect yourself and your job. Yeah, SIEMs are a good tool, but they're not the only one. Okay? There are lots of different industry tools that we all use. Some are open source or free to use, like VirusTotal or Wireshark, and others are paid to use, like CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike Falcon is an EDR. Previously, we saw that OpenEDR is an open source EDR. And Nessus, it's technically free to use, but only up to a certain capability. So you can scan up to like 12 IP addresses, give or take. And if you want more, then you have to pay for a higher tier. Yeah, so, where is the SOC? We are 98C, floor 5, room 15. It's right above telco. So if telco is like this room right here, then we're exactly one floor above telco. And our office hours, these are our office hours. So if you want to stop by, just get started or work on something with Splunk or anything else, just just stop by during these hours. To come by and talk to us.
Okay, yeah, with that kind of finalizes our presentation. Yeah, so thank you all for showing up. Did anybody have questions about SIEM, SOC, the workshop that we're gonna be doing on Friday? Anything like that? Yes, Mr. Bill.
What's Friday gonna look like?
So Friday is gonna look like, because we are having a little bit of issues with the virtualization cluster, just happenstance. And so the general idea is that people are going to be installing a forwarder on a device of their choice, on their laptop, or if you guys have VirtualBox or something like that on your laptops, on the laptop. And then you're going to be forwarding the logs to one of our central servers, and then we're going to kind of display what that looks like up on the server. And I think it'll just give people a good example of the power of a SIEM, and yeah, it'll kind of give greater insight into what it can do. Any other questions?
Yeah, so we are ending a little early, but there is a club fair going on, so we wanted to give you guys some time to go check out all the other clubs, see if anything interests you. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it for us. Thank you.